Well, welcome back to episode 2 of Gamers Gone WOD. I am Joe at Joe Nismo on Instagram, and this is Vinny at VinnyMoore76 on Instagram. We got a couple other things going on the YouTube channel, so just keep staying in tune for that. Subscribe and all that good stuff. We're just going to get started today with a recap, fitness recap, to kind of kick it off.
Awesome.
So, how's the last 2 weeks been?
So for me, I actually ended up taking a week off from the gym.
Okay.
So I was doing a move, just bought a house and everything. So my fitness was, moving furniture up the stairs. That was, it was pretty good WOD there. But I got back in the gym this week and started Monday with a hero WOD. We did the Manion WOD. And for those who aren't familiar with that, it's 7 rounds of 400-meter run and then 29 weighted back squats. And it's pretty brutal. That was 3 days ago, and I'm still feeling pretty sore. Just, never do that volume of squats ever. So, definitely feeling it. But it's a fun WOD. I like it. Being taller, squats are one of the things I'm pretty solid at, and running's one of the things I'm pretty solid at. So, it's a workout that kind of plays to my strengths a bit, but it definitely hurts.
Yeah. And for those that don't know WOD, and maybe we should have done this in the first episode, I can't remember if we did or not. Workout of the day. That's what it stands for. Hence the name Gamers Gone WOD. Playing off of Gamers Gone, the whole Girls Gone Wild thing. But we've gone WOD, which means we've, converted into fitness as gamers as well. And so every time we say WOD, basically workout of the day, that's what that means. For those who are uninitiated in the CrossFit space. So Manion being a hero workout is a tribute to either someone who's died in the line of duty or a fallen soldier or something like that. And this one is for Travis Manion, who I believe was military and passed away. And so they do these brutal, long workouts for these folks who gave the ultimate sacrifice, and it usually wrecks you. So it's tough, and that's what Vinny was describing. And gosh, I remember the last time I did Manion maybe a year ago, and I was out for a week, just because of the squats alone.
Dude, walking upstairs has been like a challenge the last couple of days. It just hurts so much.
And what weight did you use?
So I didn't go RX. I actually scaled down. One of my coaches talked me out of going RX. I'm glad he did, because I would be destroyed right now. So I did 115. It was still pretty heavy. It was like a 20-pound difference from the last time I did it, and I was actually able to cut some time off. Oh, good. So kind of cool to see that progression from a year. So
personal record.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I was happy with it. I kind of want to go test out for it again in the near future. Mm-hmm. Just now that I had that volume done recently, I'd like to see if I can get a little quicker. But I don't know. Like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with hero WODs. Yeah. I love the accomplishment that you get after you've completed one, but I also hate being destroyed for a couple of days and just actually being in the workout. For example, it took me 38 minutes to get through that.
Oh, wow.
That's a long grind.
Yeah, that's a lot of running and squatting.
Yep.
And it's tough too, because if you don't train for a lot of squatting and running, it's really hard to test yourself against that and be like, oh, I got better. You saw results which happen, slower results over time. But if you say oh, I want to test myself again, it's well, you probably need to be doing 20 rep back squat workouts, either as strength training or something like that. And then of course running 400s a lot, depending on how good you wanted to be at specifically that one workout. Right. But yeah, the high rep sets of squats, 20 reps at a moderate weight, I don't think many people do. Right, because when you think about it,
in a normal strength training session, it's you may be going to do 40 reps max, right? If you do a 5x5, that puts you at 25, and then whatever you did to warm up and to get to that point, and maybe a few more heavier ones, but that's you're not going to do anywhere close to 200 reps ever. Yeah. So.
Yeah, especially not at 135 or at any of those weights, right. Even 115. Awesome.
What about you, man? What have you been working on?
What did I do recently? It's been a tough Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I would say. I took yesterday off from the gym just because I was pretty wrecked. Monday, Tuesday was a lot of heavy pressing, and heavy squatting. So I kind of didn't have any muscle groups left to work on. So, you know, trying to get better at gymnastic work, you know, whether it's overhead pressing, to help with handstand push-ups, or it's, you know, bar muscle up type stuff. Right. So Monday, I think it was Monday, we did a whole bunch of banded muscle ups. For the first time I did like over 30 reps of just one band on for the bar muscle up, and which I guess was like a personal best for me, but it also like wrecked me.
Right.
And then the next day I did a whole bunch of heavy dumbbell presses. And so like my chest and pecs, like I would touch them and they were just really tight when I wasn't even flexing, but they were just so sore and tender. So this morning I actually woke up and did about 2-mile jog just to try to loosen the body up from taking yesterday off. And they were sore just from running. I could feel them bouncing, you know, man boobs are bouncing in the run, and they were sore. I could feel the soreness in the run, which is pretty funny. But it's also a good, it's a sign that at least probably haven't recovered fully yet. Yeah. So I might do some rowing or something later today, just some kind of like steady state cardio just to sweat.
You ever feel the chest workouts when you drive? Like if I do like a really big chest workout, like, it's like hard to turn the wheel sometimes, you know?
Yeah. It's like, ooh, I feel it right there. That's right. Oh man. So, you brought up a point when we were chatting earlier about, you know, you wanted to what they call RX. And for those that don't know, in CrossFit, when you have a workout, it's written a certain way. And RX means like, just like the doctor, right? It's as prescribed. Like, typically workouts are written for the top 5% or 10% in the gym or on the leaderboard. So it's usually this thing that's very unobtainable for your everyday person. And there's times when Vinny mentioned like, you know, I wanted to try for RX, and he got talked out of it, which is probably a good thing in the long run. But it brought up an interesting point. I was like, when is it okay to go RX and maybe not? And so what are your thoughts on that?
Man, this is something I've been struggling with because, you know, I'm finally at a point in the whole CrossFit journey that I actually feel like I'm making some real progress, and I can actually see some results in the gym, and my PRs are starting to get up to, you know, lengths I never thought they would reach. And so, and a lot of the times, you know, I feel like, oh, I can totally RX this. I can totally beast mode this. Like I'm going to go and just crush it, and it's going to be awesome. And, you know, you can really talk yourself into it, especially when you see a bunch of your buddies and stuff go RX, and it's like, oh, dude, that's me. I can totally do that. But, you know, I'd say 9 times out of 10 when I think I can RX, I shouldn't RX. There are some workouts where it's like, you know, it's totally feasible to RX. We did one recently. It was like a bunch of suitcase carries at like 50 pounds. I've got good grip strength. That was fairly doable for me. And, you know, I ended up finishing with a very competitive time at the RX weights. So that was fine. But, you know, like the Manion, that would have like completely messed up my training for this week and derailed me. And I wouldn't have had any sort of like competitive time. And I probably would have had to end up dropping the weights and just would have ruined the whole workout altogether. So it's hard. You know, I really have to like think about it each time. Something that you've kind of got me into was, if you see a very low weight, you probably don't want to RX it. Like if it's like 135, because it's, you know, it's kind of like a trap. It's gonna be hard.
It's a trap. A little Star Wars teaser for later.
Right, but
yeah, because if it's for the top 10% and it's like 50 pounds, and you look at it and you have to think about the rep schemes, right? It's like, yeah, but it's like 1,000 reps. Like, it's not doable. Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
So, yeah, it's something I struggle with. You know, the best thing I can do is like if I've done workouts that are similar to it, and I'm like, I kind of understand the volume, and I'm like, all right, you know, I've done this at, you know, a slightly less weight. I think I could probably do it. Then it's, you know, then it's probably safe. But workouts like, you know, the Manion, for example, that definitely shouldn't have RX'd that. There have been other workouts where I've RX'd it, and like I just instantly had to like drop weights like halfway through, or just I hit a wall or just completely derailed. So, you know, I struggle to find out when that balance is, but, you know, I will say I do scale more than I used to, like just, you know, comfortably scale. Because back in the day, I always wanted to be able to just RX everything. And, you know, I found that it's better to go a little lighter weight and, you know, focus on good form and focus on good reps and getting a good time and just being able to move the whole time. So, you know, there's a certain level of like reward that comes with doing it that way. So it's a balancing act because, you know, you want to RX, you want to be the big man in the gym, right? But sometimes you got to kind of dial it back, and that's something I've had to work on.
Yeah, you got to leave that ego at the door sometimes, unfortunately. You make good points, and it sounds like from what you're describing, as you've been doing this in your fitness journey, you've just learned a little bit more about yourself. Like, for example, I know I could do, XYZ at X pounds for X many reps because I've done it similarly in this other workout. So I feel comfortable with that weight versus I don't know, but I see RX and I know I have a 1 rep max. It's way over that. So let me try it. Right. It's just like rolling the dice. Like, yeah, it's probably not going to go well.
That was actually my thought process with Mannion. I could do a back squat of like 300 pounds. So I was like, what's 135? Yeah, it's a lot of reps, but
yeah. You always think it's doable. Yeah.
That would not have been a good call.
And it brings up an interesting point too. Like if you want to get into more of the nerdy aspect of training, like 1 rep at 300 pounds doesn't mean you can even do 10 at a moderate weight.
Right.
Likely you can, but you have to train in those domains. So you have all these different time domains and rep ranges. And some people can do, a lot of squats at 150, but they have to have a minute rest in between sets. And then as soon as you decide to say you only get 30 seconds between sets, they might not be able to do 150 anymore.
Right.
They'd have to drop the weight because the rest, the whole recovery process isn't fast enough for them to be able to hit the next set. And so in the example of Mannion, you've got a 400-meter run that allows you to hopefully flush out a lot of that lactic acid that develops during the squats, but it's also fatiguing the legs at the same time. So it's still kind of hitting the same muscle groups. But if you just kind of jog it, you don't really push it, you should be able to come back. And if a slowish 400 meter is like 2 minutes long, you should be able to come back and hit those squats right away.
Right.
There shouldn't be any more recovery needed, right? Like as long as you're doing the weight that's sustainable, right, at that pace. So think 400 meters, about 2 minutes, 2 minutes between sets. But if you told me to do, how many rounds was it again? You said
7.
7 rounds. If you told me to do 7 rounds at 135, that many reps, 29, and I would get it, and I would get a 2 minute rest, not even the running. And you can rest 2 minutes between each set. I would be like, I probably still can't do it.
Right.
Just taking out the running altogether. So you kind of almost have to like analyze the workouts in that way that I found is a little bit easier, is break it down into like, if I was just sitting here doing back squats, even like I would need probably more than 2 minutes between each set. And like, it would be tough at 135. So, but like I was saying earlier, and just knowing yourself and learning. Do you have any other lessons you learned over the last couple of weeks with fitness?
Nothing crazy. I'm working on a fitness goal right now.
Oh yeah?
If you want that?
Yeah, tell me about that.
So one of my long-term goals that I set like last year was around August. I was like, okay, we did the CrossFit total. And so what that is, it's you have like 20 minutes or so, and you try to get a 1 rep max of 3 different movements, and then you combine the total weight of all of that. And so it's your strict press, which is just like a front rack position to over the head, and you can't use your legs at all. You've got a back squat, and then you've got a deadlift. So last year I did it at about 625 pounds total when you combine the 3 movements. And my goal was to get about 800 pounds. So I've been looking at my current PRs, and, obviously I haven't tested all 3 at the same time. So there's some variance there, but with my current PRs, I'm over 800, which is cool. So I'm kind of like at that goal.
Now you just got to hit them all in the same 20-minute window, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. But something that was kind of neat was we've been doing like max week. We're on like a strength cycle at our gym right now. And, I just hit a 350 on my deadlift, and it felt really good. I felt like I could have gone a little more. So I'd actually like to get a 400-pound deadlift by the end of this cycle. And I think we're going to do CrossFit total at the end of this cycle. And I'm thinking if I can pull that off, it would actually be possible to kind of overshoot that goal and hit into the 900 range. And that would be like really awesome. So for me, I guess a long-term lesson I've learned is I have to have goals. Like if I don't have goals, I have nothing to like work for, and I'd kind of like lose my motivation. But as long as I keep, a couple of different goals, kind of keeps me motivated and keeps me going. And, this goal has got me really motivated right now because I'm like, this is totally doable and it's going to be awesome. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Man.
You got any goals right now?
Yeah, a lot. like you know, after a while looking good in the mirror, that's like a long-term thing. But you need things along the way that are also novelty or interesting to keep you going to the gym. And so it's always, like we talked about in the first episode, those little details and kind of breaking it down, and how can I get better hip contact with my snatch, or how can I do better on my barbell clean, or whatever it is. And so for me, it's been, you know, working on pressing overhead and pulling strength for like gymnastic work, right? Handstand push-ups, muscle ups, pull ups, that kind of stuff, because my midterm goal is like do well in the open. It's kind of up in the air right now. The CrossFit Open is this online fitness competition that's the first gateway on your way to the CrossFit Games, which is like a world championship. And so the CrossFit Open is an online month-long, it's usually about 5 workouts or tests. And you submit your scores, submit your videos, they get judged and graded, and then you get a score. And so I wanted to do, you know, better than I had before in that. And it's actually up in the air right now because they're not sure if they're going to do it in the fall anymore. Right. Because the CrossFit Games got pushed back because of COVID. So it might actually get moved back to where it was originally, which is like March timeframe. So that gives me more time.
Yep.
But back to the idea, like my goal is to do better in that event. And so I'm trying, when I look back at all my history, weights, box jumps, any of that stuff, high, you know, intensity rowing, wall balls, were never nearly the issue or problems that held me back as much as pull-up sets or ring muscle ups, right? Last year in the Open, there was a workout where you could do in any order you wanted, and it included ring muscle ups. So I did everything else and still had more than half the time available. And I just tried to get a ring muscle up the whole time. And I couldn't get one. And if you look at the leaderboard, there was this huge difference between people who didn't get the muscle up and people who did. Like, it moved you thousands of spots because that's such a skill gap, right? If you can or can't. So I'm not trying to be able to do like high sets of it. Like, obviously this year is a little impractical, but at least getting 1 or 2 under fatigue would be really cool to in case something like that comes up again, and then I can just build on it from there. So like bar muscle ups, I got my first one this last Open, which is really cool. And then I'm just gonna keep working on those. So I've been doing banded ones to try to get better at that. But yeah, it's just my upper body's always been super weak, man. Like even as a kid, it's like I could walk for days, but like you asked me to lift something overhead and it was a struggle. You know, so it's just lots of pressing, lots of pulling. And hopefully that'll carry over to like my squat snatch. So like that's not that great either. So pulling off the floor and then supporting weight over your head in an overhead squat. Hopefully a better press and handstand push-ups and stuff like that will also transfer to that, because that's also a weak link as far as my weightlifting is getting the weight overhead. Like I can clean heavy, I can squat heavy, deadlift, but as soon as I put it locked out overhead, it's like, oh, there's my weak link. Right. So that's what I've been working on.
No, that's awesome. Being kind of competitive in the scaled category of the Open is one of my longer term goals as well. So there you go. It's cool that we kind of have that in common there.
Yeah, we got a competition coming up actually, in person, individual competition. So it's like for CrossFitters, everyday CrossFitters that want to compete. So it's not typically a lot of high skilled movements. It's just like a big fun thing to do. They're still really hard workouts, but they're not technically difficult. They're just like, you know, a whole bunch of wall balls or a whole bunch of rowing. It's simple movements that way. Like we were talking about in the Open, the ring muscle up eliminated a lot of people because of, you know, the difference between that one skill. And so you won't find anything like that. So it's called Festivus. And as long as the gym gets the okay to host it in Virginia, then we should be good this September. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, man.
Yeah. Because we had trained for that leading up to it and then it got pushed back. And so in my mind, that just means we'll be that much better.
That's where my head's at, dude.
Yeah, because it's not like we quit working out or pushing. In fact, we've probably done more over COVID more consistently, I think, than ever before.
Yeah, all things considering, like the whole COVID situation sucks, but I gotta say, like from a fitness aspect, this has been like the greatest period of gains I've ever had, because I've been able to like, you know, focus on cooking more clean food and having more time to work out and get up during the day. And like, you know, I've been able to do like 2 workouts a day some days because I can get like a run in at lunchtime and then go do my regular WODs at, you know, like the afternoon after work. So it's been awesome.
Awesome, man. That's so cool. Well, I guess we can, unless you had anything else in the fitness category. I know you got some new shoes. You came walking in with those.
Yeah, dude.
Man, they're so cool. I'll put a link in the description to what I'm talking about, but give us a lowdown on them.
Yeah, so for those who aren't super familiar with the CrossFit world, there's a meme that CrossFitters just spend all their money on shoes, and I kind of fell into that trap here in the last couple of weeks. I just bought the new.
You only got one pair.
Yeah, but I'm already looking at like running shoes, and I'm already looking at lifters.
Looking at filling up that closet. Yeah. They say ladies can be bad about that stuff and talk about CrossFitters.
Oh, dude, it's terrible. It's terrible. I already want so many different like exercise shoes. It's sickening. I need to save my money though.
Awesome. Well, what'd you get?
Yeah, I got the new Nano 10s by Reebok. They're awesome. I mean, it's a very comfy shoe. I definitely feel like I have a little bit more support. For like lifts, like I don't know how to describe it, but like when you have to like, push down through the ground, it's better to have this shoe because it's kind of elevated in a way, if that makes sense. So I just feel like I have a little more force when I, actually go to do
It's elevated and it's a little bit more firm.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, it actually has a split sole. So the back half of the sole is very like firm and supported like he's describing, but then the front half is actually flexible, which allows you to do more of the bounding movements or plyometrics or even some smaller distance running in them. And so having that support underneath you when you're pressing or doing any kind of heavy deadlift or anything like that. So like a running shoe would be really squishy and it would actually squish in when you're trying to lift up. And these shoes, of course, have less of that, which gives you a little bit more firm contact and energy transfer, I guess. But how do they feel, like just generally?
I mean, generally they feel pretty great. I wouldn't want to like do like a long distance run in them.
Yeah.
But just my regular like for a cross trainer, it's awesome.
Nice.
And something I've noticed, I've talked about this before. I have this like ongoing like I wouldn't call it an injury, but like my knees will just like start really hurting, and like it's hard to do like squats and things like that from time to time. So I found putting knee sleeves on to fix that helped, but. Ever since I got these shoes, I really haven't been having the problems with my knees as much. So
maybe a little bit more support helps.
So maybe just wearing the wrong shoe. They were too worn out. I don't know. But I definitely feel like I have more support with these things. I feel more like a CrossFitter now. I feel like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid even harder.
Yeah. So Reebok Nano X's, and you got the purple style. Yeah. I really like them. They look really good. Tell us about... how that happened. Like it wasn't even that color you ordered, but it's the color you wanted.
Yeah. So I have like size 13, so there's like almost never any options as far as customization when it comes to shoes and
14
stuff.
Here, so totally feel you.
Yeah. even worse.
Yeah.
But I ordered like it was like a gray and orange because it was like the only option they had. But I really wanted the purple and black one, and Amazon sent me the purple and black one because they said like. It wasn't in stock for the size 13, but they sent me the wrong shoe, but it was the right shoe that I wanted. So it's just a really lucky coincidence.
And it was in your size.
Yeah. Same size. Like everything was right about it, except I just didn't order that, but it's what I wanted.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So I guess my Alexa was listening,
Yeah, maybe, they're just that good, I like to think of it as a weird coincidence, mistake, but at the same time, it's probably more likely that they can just figure that out and spy on us, right?
Was it Bob Ross that said just a happy accident?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but they look dope. I really like them.
Thanks, dude.
So it's funny because you inspired my wife. She ordered some.
Oh, nice.
And she ordered a purple style color at first, but then she actually went for she ordered a size too small, so she sent them back and ended up going for brighter ones on the return. So I was kind of bummed because I was like, I like the purple, and y'all were twinning, with the shoe styles. But now she's got more of a bright color, and I guess that's what she wanted. So, but yeah, awesome. I'm eager to hear what she thinks of them too. She hasn't really given me a review yet, so maybe we'll bring her on and have her give us a shoe review in depth.
That'd be awesome.
Awesome, man. So moving on, you told me, and now forgive me, everybody who's into Minecraft. I know it exists. I know it's a game, and I know you build stuff and you can do mini games inside, and that's about it. But Vinny's really excited because there's a new update, right?
Yeah, dude. They just had a huge update. So there's a couple of dimensions in the Minecraft world. So you've got like your standard like overworld, and then you've got the Nether, and then you've got the End. And so they just did a huge update on the Nether. And it's kind of game changing because, you know, Minecraft is one of those games where you play how you want to play. So there's a lot of different ways you can take the game. Like you said, you could do mini games, you could just build, you could like survive, you could like just make these like hard, ridiculous challenges. Like there are people who will play the game and they play on hardcore mode. So it's like if you die once, you lose your world. You're never able to play it again. Like it's pretty crazy.
That sounds awful.
There's a lot of streamers that'll play on these hardcore worlds and they just make it like 80 hours in and just go absolute beast mode on it. And it's really cool.
Wow.
Because, you know, you take the game really serious. Like, you know, dying, that's a huge penalty, you know.
Yeah.
You literally lost hours and hours of work. And I've watched, you know, streamers actually like lose their worlds on stream. And it's, you know, they're upset, obviously.
Yeah, have a little meltdown.
But
wow.
What's cool about this update is like the Nether dimension was pretty lacking. It just didn't, you couldn't really survive in there without like bringing stuff from the overworld. But now they've like completely revamped it, and so there's like actually like food sources in the Nether now that you can kind of like survive off of. There's actually like trees that grow, so you can actually like, you know, harvest things and, you know, have like a infinite source of growing stuff. So it's like the resource collection is better, and like there's actually like food, and there's actually ways to survive, and there's more structures, there's more monsters and things like that, and you can actually like trade, and so it's really sweet.
It's awesome. Have you really been into it?
I've been playing a little bit of it.
Awesome.
What's cool about it is there's actually now you can kind of like survive in this dimension without going. So we're talking about like play the game how you want, and this is something I really want to do. Is I want to do a world where you just spawn there, and then you try to make it back to the overworld. One of my brothers actually did it already, and he's like, it was actually kind of easy because he just found the traders and was able to like build a portal and get back.
Okay.
So that was impossible before, but now you can do it pretty easily, which is kind of cool.
Oh, neat.
So it's a huge update. It brings like a whole bunch of new blocks. So for the builders, they're happy because there's so many cool blocks now. Like they've got chains and stuff. So,
oh, cool.
You know, it's going to open up a whole bunch of cool builds and things like that. But again, the new mobs are awesome. The new trading is awesome. The new blocks are pretty cool. So
you're gonna dig into it over the 4th of July weekend?
Oh
you think?
man, was that a dad joke buried in there? Dig into it?
Oh, maybe, yeah. In the Minecraft world, yeah.
Yeah, but no, actually, yeah. Me and my brothers are probably gonna play it soon.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
So we're trying to set up a world and just go, you know, check it out, have fun.
Well, there you go. So any Minecrafters out there, hit up Vinny. He's into it. Don't hit up me unless you can find a way to get me into it. I don't know.
I'll work on him, guys. Don't worry.
That's so cool. That's PC, right? Like I know it's on X. There's a whole bunch of ports like all over the place. There's a Switch one.
Is across all consoles, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, because I saw it on the Switch as well available, and I was like, maybe. But I know it can be such a time-consuming thing. It's like I've got so many I'm trying to get through right now that like I don't need one more like thing to absorb me. Right. That's so cool, man. Well, next up on the list today is something I was pretty excited about that I sent you a YouTube trailer for. It just dropped, I guess, a couple weeks ago. Star Wars Squadrons, which is, I think, primarily an EA produced game. It looks pretty legit. What do you think? First reactions.
So, have you ever played Star Wars Battlefront at all?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so if you remember, there are some game modes where you actually like pilot a ship and you can do like the whole dogfighting and everything. But it's not the primary mechanics of the game.
Right,
you know?
So it's like not that great.
So yeah, it's kind of secondhand. Whereas like with Star Wars Squadrons, that's the whole game. Is like you're piloting these ships, and so it looks really cool. It looks like there's a whole bunch of different like moves you can do with the ship, and you can actually pilot it. And I'm really excited about it. I've always thought the space battles were cool. Yeah. And I mean, this game just looks phenomenal.
Did you ever play Rogue Squadron back on N64?
I did not.
Okay, so I think it's supposed to be like the next in that series, and maybe for the uber Star Wars nerds I'm incorrect, but when Rogue Squadron came out on the N64, which is very similar, you would pilot your ships, and that was all it was flying and battles either on planets or in space. And me and my brother used to play that so much to where like as we were falling asleep, like after playing for hours, you could like hear sound effects from the game you're playing. Have you ever done that? Like you played so much and like you think you're hearing the game, but it's not. That's probably a sign of an issue. But just so you all know, that's how much we played Rogue Squadron. because they had multiplayer and stuff on the N64 and everything. But then on GameCube, Rogue Squadron Rogue Leader came out, and I only got to touch that for a little bit. I actually recently got a copy over COVID, and I haven't played it yet on the Cube. But now that I see that Squadrons is coming out, I might try to just play a little bit of each one, like leading up to it. There's another one called, I think, Rebel Strike, or Rogue Squadron 3 is like the other name for it. But now this is Star Wars Squadrons. I'm guessing it's taking on the same idea, but with this, it's a little bit different because the whole multiplayer aspect, the idea of like building your squadron and playing, both sides, Rebels or Empire. So it's a really cool, expansive world that it reminds me a lot of Rogue Squadron, which I'm assuming Squadrons and it's related, but I don't think any of the old Rogue Squadron games were EA. They're all LucasArts. And I know now that Disney acquired them, there's all kinds of things happening in that space. So this is really cool to see EA grab a hold of it. And I laughed in the trailer because it said all these things that you can unlock simply by playing the game, which is, I believe, what you're talking about, like an homage to one of the Battlefronts that they did not too long ago.
Oh, yeah, the new Battlefront.
I think they've come out with another one since then, but before that, they released one and everyone lost their mind because there was so many in-game purchases that were required.
Very pay to win.
Yeah, and I think they got a lot of blowback from that, so it's cool to see it. But it's really funny to hear it mentioned specifically in the trailer, something that existed for so many years as a basic feature. Like, yeah, you play the game, you unlock stuff.
Right, you don't have to take your mom's credit card.
Yeah, but my first reaction to it was like nostalgia. It was like, oh man, Rogue Squadron, but updated, like totally cool. And then I like the idea of if you had a crew of guys or gals that you're playing with, you can like really build out these cool squadrons and do these longer form battles, like these fleet battles they talked about. And you can also just do like dogfighting. And
it looks like they've got like different classes and stuff. And it kind of reminded me a bit of like, Call of Duty Online, because you can customize it. You can actually like add like perks and stuff to your ship as you get better. And that's super interesting to me.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really cool. I'm excited. Apparently, the game is completely playable in VR.
Oh my god!
Which, for those who have the VR setups, that's probably really cool for you guys. I've never done any of the VR stuff. Like, obviously, I've seen it. I've seen people have it. I've put on goggles and looked at it once, but never been totally into like following that space. But it's apparently like supposed to be really good in VR.
I mean, it looks just like looking at the trailer, it looks like it would be an incredible experience because, I mean, you see everything. It would feel like you were actually piloting that ship. And I feel like it's one of those games that's like really good for VR. I feel like I'd love to play Skyrim VR, for example, but like moving around is kind of imperfect right now. Whereas like, you actually like looking around, like you would be
piloting.
Piloting
you're sitting in a pilot as a pilot,
it's
right?
just one of those games that works out really well for VR.
Yeah, I would say like any kind of cockpit, racing, flying, any kind of that stuff would be really good for VR. It looks awesome. I could see them making some sort of like Rebel helmet.
Oh, that is so cool.
VR thing, right, where you actually put on, or you put on one of the Empire like masks, and like that's your VR experience. I did see that the Dark series, which is like Hasbro's, I think, collectible Star Wars right now. On GameStop, you can pre-order the game with a Luke Skywalker helmet, but it's not like a VR helmet. It's just like it's got sound effects and lights. It's more like a collector's item. But when I saw that, I thought, man, it'd be so cool if there was a way, and maybe there is, maybe I'm just totally ignorant, but like a Star Wars helmet that was like VR capable somehow in the visor. I don't know. Like, I just think that'd be so freaking awesome to like put on a helmet, sit in VR. If you're gonna do VR, man, you got to have the cool outfit, right?
That'd be so cool.
Like donning your helmet before you go battle.
It's like the evolution of gaming. You're gonna put on like a whole like Rebel jumpsuit and the mask and everything. Yeah. Just sitting in
Master
the
Chief
office.
outfit. Yeah. No, that's so cool. Any other thoughts on that game at all?
I mean, I'm just excited for it.
Yeah.
I think the PvP is going to be really good. And
are they doing a PC edition? Or
I don't know.
I only saw PS4 and Xbox.
I mean, if it's VR compatible, I feel like they should.
How would they do VR? Does the Xbox have? See, this is how far detached I am from VR. I know PlayStation has some sort of VR capable thing, right? But I didn't know the Xbox did.
Right.
Maybe it does. Maybe I just
I haven't
ignorant.
console gamed in years.
See, that's what we got to fix, Vinny. We got to get you on a console. That way we can game, because, you know, I'm a big console. I mean, I have some PC games, but I guess, yeah, you would have to have a PC to be able to do the other VR stuff, right? So that'd be interesting. We'll see. That's so cool. Sorry.
Yeah.
Phone buzzing there. So from that, because of, I guess, LucasArts and all the deals that are going on and Disney buying them and all these cool games coming out, it seems like the Nintendo Switch is getting some really cool stuff. There's rumors of a lot more Star Wars games from older consoles coming to the Switch. But recently, after many delays due to COVID, they dropped Episode 1 Pod Racer. Or Racer. Did you ever play that back in the day?
I never played it, but it actually looks like it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, so I found out, I did some digging. I found out there was a PC version, which is interesting. I only knew the N64 version. Actually, still got the cartridge down there, as well as Rogue Squadron. Yeah, I got the carts down there. So maybe we'll come over and do a retro game session where we just play one of the old games on the N64. Yeah, but... yeah, the Episode 1, like, it's cool on the Switch because the graphics are a little bit better. And it looks like it's, you know, the best it could be from the PC, which had a little bit better elements in the game. But then it's also improved a little bit more in the menu system for, like, just not being, like, blurry, you know, images and stuff. And the menu items are crisp and clear. But what were your thoughts on that? I mean, you hadn't even played the original, so
I
like,
played the original.
Just looking at it, what do you think?
I looked at the trailer for the one coming to Switch, and I mean, it looks cool. It looks like it'd be a fun game to play with the Switch. Are you actually able to leverage the Switch's like mobility? You know what I'm talking about?
that is one thing they put in it, so you can do the tilting and it'll actually turn.
Kind of like Mario Kart.
Yeah, and this was one of the top 10 racing games from the N64. So Mario Kart, Wave Race, all those games, Cruising USA were really big, and Episode 1 actually held up in the lineup of racing games, of best racing games, which is really cool because it's Star Wars at the same time. And some people say it's probably the only Episode 1 anything that was good from that prequel.
Pretty much.
But, you know, as a kid, I loved the prequels, of course, but it's a really good racing mechanics game for like pod racing, and you kind of like get faster ships, get upgrades and stuff like that. And you can kind of do a little bit of that in there, which is cool. But it's $15 from the Switch to download on the eShop. And it's available now, which is pretty cool.
I might have to go pull that.
Yeah. So right now it's the only portable way, I guess, other than a laptop, you know, that you can play Episode 1, unless you had one of those N64 emulator handheld things, right? So that's pretty cool.
I think that's why I love the Switch so much, is like you can take it anywhere, or you could keep it on like a big TV, or, you know.
Yeah.
It's just super
And they've
convenient.
got a Jedi Outcast from, I think, original Xbox era on there. So like they've got some other ports from old consoles. So I'm seeing that this might be a trend of like Nintendo eShop games, like $10-15, download these old Star Wars games that were really good back in the day. And hopefully some remasters too would be cool. But yeah, I would love to see more of that. I would really love to see a Shadows of the Empire come out. That was an old N64 game where you follow a Han Solo-like character called Dash Rendar from the extended universe. And that had a little bit of flying, a little bit of first-person shooter, a little bit of, I guess, puzzle solving. I don't know, maybe. It had some, I can't remember. It's been so long, but it was a really cool game for the 64. It'd be neat to see it, kind of a remaster of that put on the Switch too. You know, just basically you have a handheld that you can play all kinds of games from different catalogs, from old to new. You know, it's really cool universal system.
That's awesome. How many of the GameCube games have they remastered for that thing now?
I know they just did. Well, that's not even GameCube. I was thinking Link's Awakening was done, but that's a 3D Link's Awakening, which would have been from, I guess, Super Nintendo or Game Boy. But yeah, I don't know. I know that like Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 are on there. 4 was a remaster.
Right.
But that wasn't just for the Switch. They had remastered it for PS4 and Xbox One and all that back in the day. But they also, I think, released like some of the Resident Evil other remasters as well on there. So there's a lot of cool games coming on there. But I would like the Switch to have the entire Zelda catalog.
Oh my
like,
God. Be phenomenal.
It would be really cool to be able to play all the Zelda games without having to have different handhelds and stuff. Like, you know, all of them, like the Game Boy ones, the mini whatevers, from, or if they just wanted to follow like the main timeline, like all the major releases.
Right.
Like Ocarina of Time, I think is not on the Switch, but it is on the 3DS. So to me, you could port that over, right?
Yeah.
Majora's Mask, and of course now you've got Breath of the Wild was released on the Switch. But also like Twilight Princess would be really cool to see. Some of the ones from the Wii, GameCube era. They did do a Wind Waker HD. I can't remember. Did that come out on the Switch or was it only on the Wii U?
I can't
see
remember.
What I mean? Like the Zelda games are scattered. It's like give them all one home where for people like me who missed a lot of years can like catch up and play like Skyward Sword and The Link Between Two Worlds and all those different games that I missed in between. Basically, Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild, I've pretty much missed everything in between. So it's like I'm trying to play catch up, but it's like I need 100 different devices.
Right.
I could go the emulator route, but it's like sometimes they're not as good, and maybe I just need to be more open to that, and they might be just fine. But it's like really cool to play like a legit port or a legit version of the game.
It's nice to have the full.
And the Switch would be
experience.
nice to have them all on the Switch, because then it's like I don't have to worry about how I'm getting which or what. It's right there.
Right. Yeah, that could actually be a really lucrative opportunity for Nintendo. Just literally re-release all their old games. I mean, Disney's pretty much doing that with all their movies right now.
Yeah, on Disney Plus or like a Nintendo subscription.
Yep.
Xbox is doing that right now. They do the Game Pass.
Oh, nice.
And so you get like access to over 100 titles through Xbox for a minimal monthly fee.
That's pretty cool.
And so I can see that coming around with Nintendo, because they do have a lot of the NES games on there, SNES games that you can buy, but you have to pay for each one. And it's like, man, after a while, if you wanted to have like a full nice catalog of all the ports, it would be pretty expensive.
Yep.
But yeah, it'd be cool to see like, basically Zelda 1, 2 all the way up on the Switch.
Dude, I'd love to have like the old, I don't know if you ever played like Super Mario Sunshine. Like that was one of my like all-time favorite GameCube games.
Yeah, it'd be cool if they ported that one, because I think there's a big group of people for that one.
I'd drop $15-$20 on that now, you know?
Oh yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, Sunshine, definitely.
Wouldn't even blink over that, you know?
Man, that's so cool. Yeah, there's some good games coming out for sure on the Switch. I wonder if this is like the future of gaming, of constantly remastering, remaking, because like Resident Evil's gone through so many remasters, and now there's rumors that Resident Evil 4 will actually get remade, which would be interesting, because it's been alive for so long and people love that game. I was recently playing through, actually streamed on the channel, so check that out. But yeah, it's, I guess if you have enough developers and you have enough want, like you can just sit there and keep remaking games and never really, I mean, you're adding on and improving, but you're not really starting anything new.
No, it's funny. There's like a very cynical way to look at this from like the game developer perspective. Like 10 years ago, they kind of engineered us to purchase games that weren't made all the way, with like beta releases. And, I've bought games in beta numerous times. I have games that, have remained in beta for like 6-7 years. So, they got us buying games that, weren't all the way built. And then they got us buying, expansion packs to games. So like, the game that we never finished, here's extra pieces to it. Right. And now they're just getting us to rebuy the same game. Oh, and then I guess you also had the whole in-game purchase. So yeah. A lot of little strategies they can do there. But I mean, honestly though, I kind of like the remastering of games.
I do too.
Because I'm very nostalgic. Like I've played certain games for years. Like, I talked about RuneScape in the last stream. Yep. I've played that for like 15 years and, on and off obviously, but they remastered it and it's great and I love it. Like, so
yeah, I love the Halo remasters, and I don't mind the remasters so much, but it just, I actually enjoy a lot of those as long as they're tastefully done and it's not just like a copy paste style. Like, do they actually improve it as far as the way it looks, and can it work on HD and all that good stuff? But it seems like, I mean, you got Halo 6 essentially about to come out. Halo Infinite is what it's called. Resident Evil 7, 8, 9, like these franchises have gotten so big. Like, are there any other new big franchises to be had when you've got people buying Call of Duty 25 or Call of Duty 30 or, but yeah, it's like, man, like can we do another Call of Duty game? Like, or is that it? Is that like first person shooter fully advanced? Like that's it? Like there's nothing. Like, do you go to VR at that point, or it's an interesting conversation?
Yeah.
I think probably for another podcast.
You're talking about bundling all the Legend of Zelda games together. If you have a couple $100 to drop, there's actually a bundle of all the Call of Duties out with all of their expansion packs and everything on Steam. But it's like literally like several $100s. But it's every Call of Duty ever made and all the DLC.
I mean, that's cool.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, this
if the stories are good and you want to play through the stories, I think it's good. But like the multiplayer, in my mind, those are short lived, because as soon as a better multiplayer or better patches come out, like you have to kind of stay current with multiplayer, because that's where the players go. Whereas like if you fire up an old game and get on multiplayer, you're probably not going to find anybody if the servers are alive. Even some of the World War II like ranked matches, like I sat in a lobby for a really long time and just had to leave. I had to go to like public matches because there wasn't enough people playing ranked matches in that space. Or maybe it wasn't Call of Duty, maybe it was one of the Halo's remasters, so it's like you got to play where people are at, for the multiplayer. But the campaign stuff, it'd be cool to like, they could just extract like the stories out and like you could play basically an offline Call of Duty, the entire game series, like from 1 to whatever, with Black Ops
just
and
like
all
one
that.
game with all the story.
Yeah, and you just kind of like bounce around between the campaigns. You could play it like in chronological order of release date, or you could play it in like timeline inside of Call of Duty order. Like you would start in World War II, obviously, but then like the advanced warfare might not be until the end because it's supposed to be more futuristic. So I don't know. I think that would be interesting, but I don't know how well like campaign modes are doing anymore. Like for a while, like games were dropping it all together because it wasn't worth, I think, the development time. But maybe now they're going back to like really good immersive one-player storylines, and that's what I enjoy a lot of times in the games. Is more of like, I feel like I'm playing in a movie type experience. I love multiplayer too, but what's your opinion on that?
No, I mean, honestly, like I give the Call of Duty series a whole lot of slack, but truthfully, that their story mode is pretty good. That's just the thing, though. Is like I can't justify paying $60 for 10 hours of story, though.
Yeah.
So, I will never buy a Call of Duty brand new because I don't really care to play their multiplayer that much. But yeah, I'll totally go back and play the story mode. And if they were to just take all the story modes for all the games and put it in chronological order, I'd probably drop some money on that, because it's fun. The story mode is awesome,
Well, there you go, Activision. If you hear this,
probably, man.
You had people that'll give you money for more things. Yeah, awesome. Well, I think that about wraps us up. We kind of wandered off on a little rabbit trail there, but fitness recap, Minecraft update, Star Wars Squadrons, Pod Racer for Switch, and then our misgivings about video games in general and how they do releases and stuff. But super stoked for HD remasters and all the kind of new things happening in the world as well, and playing some of the games like Episode 1 Racer. Like that's gonna be fun to grab off of the shop and play here soon.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to pick that up.
Yeah, if you like a good racing game, Star Wars racing game, it's really good.
Right.
Yeah. Or we can play it on the 64.
We'll play the OG one.
Yeah, we'll live stream that one.
Dude, I'm always down for a retro day. Just let me know.
Yeah, well, we'll do that. We'll do that soon, very soon then. So I got to fire up all the consoles then. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Vinny.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, so for anyone watching, just be sure to subscribe, or if you're listening, subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Signing off, this is Joe at Joe Nismo on Instagram.
And this is Vinny at Vinny Morris 76 on Instagram.
Alrighty, see you guys.